weekly knitting check-in. So I'm going to take a leaf out of Charles Heathcote's book and just start labeling them with numbers. So the one that I did where I was evaluating my reading goals a couple months back will be episode 1, and this will be episode 2. And the project that I am working on just this year has become apparently a chevron blanket obsessed year, which makes me chuggy. I have learned about this word, and I have learned that I fall under that category, and chevron is in that category, and I don't even care. I don't even care. But it is a blanket that I am making a wedding present for a dear friend. And the burgundy and blue are her wedding colors. So I just told her, I'm going to make you a blanket. What colors do you want? And she said burgundy and navy. And then she thought cream would look nice. So here I am. I'm making good progress. I am kind of aiming for a stripe a day, but this week has just been really off. If I am very fatigued, then I am not able to do a stripe a day. I'm going to move this down lower though, so people can actually see me knit this time. Last time you couldn't really actually see me knitting while I was doing it. But my main thing I wanted to talk about in this, because it's a cozy chat, and just this year I have been chasing after all the cozy things. What side am I on? I'm on the knit side. I had to figure that out. Sometimes it's a little dicey when you're trying to figure out when you're jumping back into a project and you've been thinking about other things. But I am on the knit side. All the cozy things I've been doing. So earlier this year, last year was like the year of K-drama, and I had so much fun falling in love with this new form of TV I had never watched or experienced prior to 2020. And it was a great consolation. And I have a list of about 100 K-dramas or Korean dramas, for those of you who don't know, that I'm interested in watching. And then this year hit, and I'm just not craving them as much. And it makes me really sad because it was just a lovely part of my year last year, and I loved when I would watch a new one, having new soundtracks to add to my K-drama favorites playlist. And I have been lifting weights a couple times a week, and I love having that kind of music on while I lift. But I think I just am going to have phases with the things that I'm interested in, and you can't force it. And then I remembered BritBox, the streaming service that has like all of the Anglophile shows on it, and it has been the best decision. So I took away my Viki subscription. That's where I watch a lot of K-dramas. There are some on Netflix, so if I get the hankering, I don't necessarily have to like subscribe to another streaming service to watch them. I could look at the ones that are on Netflix. Anyhow, I got a BritBox subscription, and it has been the best thing. I cannot tell you. So I thought I would just talk about the cozy ones that I have been watching. Oh, and I have some magazines to show you. I will do magazines first. I ended up, because there were a lot of $5 for a year subscription deals on Amazon, and they just kept popping up. So I think I'm subscribed to a total of 6 magazines now. I did not set out to subscribe to 6 magazines. And now, in retrospect, I'm very disappointed in Victoria. There's not nearly enough text or like body to the magazine. It's a bunch of pictures, and like Gina Stanier on her channel talked about how it's just kind of pretentious. Like it will talk about this, it'll show this beautiful apron, and then you look it up and the apron is like $350. It's ridiculous. So it's just so over the top with like idealizing these, expensive things, and it got on my nerves after a while. And then Better Homes and Gardens is also a lot of like expensive houses. Now these magazines do have some of that, but they also have real articles in them. And the first one I've been very happy with is Country Living. And Susan Branch talks about country living, and she reminded me about it. So I am really pleased with this. I loved the articles on this. It had some really sweet things for Father's Day. and good recipes in here, and interesting articles. Yeah, lots of, ooh, the food looks so yummy. And then I've been extremely happy with Southern Living. This is, I really like the writing in here. And there is the Grumpy Gardener column, Dear Grumpy. And I really enjoy his column, even though I don't really do gardening. I have like one plant that I try to keep alive, and I do some weeding. And that's the extent. I would love to do more, but I really have to budget my energy, and that's just not something that's a priority right now with 2 small children. And then it has a heck of a lot of good recipes in there. And then I love Rick Bragg's column, and this one is called It's Raining Cats, and it's about how people who aren't necessarily cat people can sometimes attract cats. And I love that. So I actually haven't read that article yet, but I know I will like it. I've gotten about halfway through this one. I don't want it to be done, like I'm waiting for my July magazines to get here. Then I have here, let me cover up my address. This is Martha Stewart's Living, and this one might be my favorite out of them. This has great articles in it too. So these ones I'm happy. It has a good ratio of pictures to article, like, you know, content in it. And I was inspired by the Martha Stewart Living. I actually didn't use a recipe from it, but they were talking about carbonara, and my body is generally happier the less gluten I eat, and I have tried so many gluten-free noodle options, and I just do not like any of them. But finally I thought, you know what? There are like Asian stir-fry dishes and soups that use rice noodles, and it's like the recipes are made for that. Why don't I try that? And I made spaghetti carbonara with the rice noodles, and it was amazing. They were al dente, and it was silky smooth and soft, and I loved it. So that made me very excited that I was able to make an amazing gluten-free pasta dish. That's never happened. So those have just been very much balm to the soul, and I still have some in the backlog that I need to get to. But I will tell you about the cozy TV shows I've been watching, and it's just been the loveliest time to sit and knit, or now that it's summertime, have some ice cream and watch something. And Arthur is not napping anymore, which makes me sad. Or rather, he would nap if we let him, but he kept waking up so grouchy. Peter just stopped napping of his own accord, but would still stay in his room for quiet rest time, we called it. If we put Arthur in his room for quiet rest time, he would fall asleep. But I have declared that I get at least an hour of them being outside or in their playroom while I watch TV. And they go do something else because they're just around me like all day. So, hour to myself. And sometimes they will play on their own. Like Peter's listening to an audiobook right now and Arthur's accompanying him. A lot of times I let them watch TV while I film. That's why you don't, see them coming in. But I filmed yesterday and I don't know. I feel like they've been, if they get too much TV, they're grumpy more easily. So they're out happy playing on the porch, and we'll see how they do. But anyhow, so I've just decided I'm allowing myself that because they are a lot of mental energy, which I'm happy to be home with them. I chose to do that, but I like having the little break with some British television. So the first one, and it is all down to, again, I'm gonna be talking about her a lot when I'm talking about cozy things. Gina from Gina Stan Your Books jogged my memory of As Time Goes By. I had seen a few episodes here and there over the years, but I had never watched the show all told. And it has been the biggest delight. I love it's an autumn romance where this couple, they knew each other when they were in their very early 20s or even late teens. And because of a miscommunication, they got separated, and years go by, and she was married and has a daughter, and now they're in their early 60s, and she's a widow, and they meet up again, and he has never fallen out of love with her. And so it's just really sweet. There's so many things that just act like you can only, have a romance if you are young. And I love this, seeing people middle-aged falling in love, and it's just lovely. And I've been talking a lot about it to Taylor from the Babbling Bee books, and she's been enjoying it too. And we're saying we just love like all of the sets, the domestic scenes, like when Judi Dench's character Jean gets back from work and she kicks off her work shoes and props her feet up on the table while she's on the couch and just looking so relaxed after a hard day of work and having a cup of tea or a coffee. And I love that. The humor is very biting, and I enjoy that as well. All in all, such a fun show. Not always family friendly, so that's one, I watch by myself. And then I also picked up again, but I think before I pick up with this show more, I want to just finish As Time Goes By and then move on to The Vicar of Dibley. I have seen a good chunk of The Vicar of Dibley. There's a few episodes I haven't seen, but also I'm just loving rewatching it. It is ridiculous how funny it is. So in case you don't know, it's a small English village, very insular, and they're all shocked when the new Anglican priest is a woman. And so it takes a lot for her to win them over. Some of the humor I do not appreciate. It is very blasphemous, and I just don't like that about it. But it's not, most episodes, it's not too bad. So I just think, you should go out of your way to be respectful when you are portraying matters of faith. So it does not always do that. It's pretty irreverent and cavalier about it. That is a pet peeve that I have. But there's enough of the humor that I find extremely funny, and the whole, I can't believe it's not butter tasting like butter bit. Just, there's so many things. So I love that. It is interesting to me, all of the 90s UK pop culture references that are completely lost on me. I Google a lot as I'm watching it. So I'll be going back to that one. I'm currently in season 5 of As Time Goes By, so I'm going through it all too quickly. What's weird is they don't have the final 2 episodes of As Time Goes By, which were called reunion specials, on BritBox. They're on like Masterpiece Special. I've never done Masterpiece, like subscribe to Masterpiece. So I think I will do it just so I can watch those 2 episodes. Hopefully they have some kind of free trial or something. And then I have started watching with the boys, and we're having so much fun watching All Creatures Great and Small, the original. And a few of the mystery shows that normally wouldn't be too intense for me in other seasons of my life have been too intense for me. So the Miss Marple series has been lovely, and currently I am in By the Pricking of My Thumbs, which is a fabulous episode. It opened with the body in the library, which that story I know from the episodes. I have not yet read the Miss Marple books. I'm waiting because first I want to read through the entire Poirot series. I'm just OCD like that. But I'm loving By the Pricking of My Thumbs. Now, I realized as I was watching it, with just how gentle it is with the viewer, this is the Beatrix Potter mystery series by Susan Wittig Albert. This is basically the same level of comfort and cozy as that series, and I love it for it. It's delightful. I highly recommend it. Yeah, so I'm definitely getting my money's worth out of this subscription. I was like, if I'm gonna do this, like, I want to actually watch it. And then, Wonder of Wonders. My husband has agreed to watch Keeping Up Appearances with me. So we have watched over the past year, and then we just finished watching a K-drama together, and now he is watching Keeping Up Appearances with me after we finished the K-drama, and it's wonderful. I've never gone all the way through that one, and it has been lovely. Being back with Hyacinth Bucket, or Hyacinth Bouquet, as she would want you to call her, and yes, just the level of like uncomfortable humor, the situational humor is delightful. So that has all been such a balm, and I'm loving it. And this year I've not been reading that many classics, and I have so come to peace with it. I'm having the most hedonistic reading year, and when it comes down to it, like, I am really tired and worn out, and I'm sick and tired of being sick basically every day. I have a few days here and there that I'm not, and I'm sorry if people are tired of hearing me talk about it, but it is my life, you know? And I keep seeing people talking about feeling unwell after the COVID vaccine. And I'm like, that stinks, but that's just going to be a few days for you. And then you'll have most of your life that you're not feeling unwell. And I know I have a fair number of viewers that comment and talk about their chronic illness experience. So I love knowing that I'm not alone in chronic illness. And I am just done guilting myself over not reading these big, ambitious books. Because when it comes down to it, if this is, the life that I was meant to have, a life filled with chronic illness, not that I give up ever on getting well, I still hope that would happen, but for now I have it, then maybe my life was not meant to read these big tomes. I am completely unmotivated. Now, if it is one that draws me in immediately, I'll still read it. Like, I'm very slowly working on The Daisy Chain by Charlotte Young, and it's delightful, but I'm loving slowly digesting it. And there's just a lot more genre fiction out there for Kate How to Love than I realized. And I'm so pleased that I'm just going with this, my summer reading aesthetic of fairy tales and romances and mysteries. I'm very much in the mood for them. So I'm just loving it. I'm loving it. Still excited for Booktober, as always, but I think I'll be very modest with my TBR. I did that 2 years ago, and it was wonderful. So I think that's all I had to say. Yeah, just that I'm really loving what I'm letting myself to read, what I'm gifting myself to read, and it's what I need living the life that I am living. And I think that I would just be reading a lot less if I was like not giving myself the freedom to be so indulgent with what I want to read. I would just be reading less, and I would rather be reading more. I know Ray from Ray of Sunlight Reads said that she appreciated kind of the variety in what I read, and how she thought sometimes if she's going to not read something frivolous, then she's just not going to read at the end of a long work day, when you're really tired. And so I love, I can just cozy up on my couch, not feeling great, but I can pick up a great book or listen to a great audiobook. And it's just very frustrating because there is this chapter of Booktube, see the pun there, this chapter of Booktube that is really judgmental about what people read. And I remember this one guy, I watched him, and he said, he was doing a booktuber shout out, and he was talking about all the booktubers reading literary fiction, right? The like official category of literary fiction. And he said, these people are reading important books, and they're all like Man Booker kind of books. And not to knock on people who like Man Booker, that's great. If you love reading that, like, good on you. I'm sure there are some wonderful literary fiction books that get nominated for that prize and win that prize. But it goes back to this whole thing, and I know Katie from Life Between Words and I have talked about this, that people act like if a book is inviting and domestic, it has no worth or meaning, because there has to be trauma and despair in a book for it to really feel meaningful, which just speaks to our culture and a lot of people that feel really sad. But I would rather, instead of, when I feel low, instead of reading books about more sad things, it will just make me feel worse. But if I read books about happy things, I understand when things can feel kind of saccharine in a book, but when things feel, safe, what's wrong with that? It's just, I give this kind of sigh of relief as I read it, and it's bringing me such joy. So thank you for watching this kind of rambly, all over the place chat. Let me know kind of the cozy shows that you like to watch. I would love to hear. And hopefully this blanket gets finished in time. The wedding is in September. So like I said, a stripe a day. But then I have another project that I would really love to get going on this summer. we're going to see how it goes. I will leave it there, and I hope you have a great day and enjoy whatever it is that you are reading. And I'll be back for another video soon. Bye.